You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
Live from the Immigrant Farm Studios here in downtown Jerusalem, it's Louis Live, the Yossi G edition with me, Yossi G, your host, along my side, Rafi G. What's going on, man?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here and excited for a great show. It's very disappointing. You know, the fans are very excited to face the Giants again after an epic game in 2008, and people really believe that this could be the year. But I think what's important to note is that a lot of Patriots fans forget that this team was lacking a good defense. It ranked 31st in the league in yards per game, and the defense really struggled. And Eli Manning just did what he did in the last Super Bowl. And Wes Welker had a terrific game besides that drop, and I think the Patriots need to give more credit to Coach Belichick and the owner, Robert Kraft, and Tom Brady for the wonderful season they had instead of talking about how the game ended.
It seems like you get all the players and what's been going on through it all, the only mainstay, the only superstar that you want to, if you want to call him that, on the team is Brady. What he had to work with was not anything that any other quarterback would be envious for or about. His defense was not exactly that astute. Yeah, it gave up a lot of plays, but you do have to bear in mind that when it came down to the red zone offense, or rather red zone defense, they did not give up that many points. They ranked right in the middle of the pack when it came up to points in the 20. Granted, they gave up a lot of yardage between the 20s, which most likely is a cause for fatigue. Once you get to the fourth quarter, you have your defensive line really tired, your defensive backs get a little tired, but it's that one or two plays where they get that sudden boost, which really helps for the reasons why they were number one in the AFC in takeaways this year with 17. But fans, sports writers, all of those, they have to bear in mind that this is just a game. At the end of the day, everything that happened for the Patriots this season, they beat their first team that had a winning record after the season, after their season was over. That was in the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens. So when you add that all up, perhaps the 13-3 record, they weren't as good as their record showed. But at the end of the day, this team still had something there. It played well. It played a lot better. It was more like the sum of its parts.
Absolutely. This is a Coach Belichick team, despite not having such a great defense. So the coach understood that he had to focus on getting takeaways. He had to focus on helping Brady get on the field. And the number one way he did that was try and teach the defense that if they could, yes, they're going to give up a lot of yards no matter what. That's going to happen. But if they can limit the points that they're giving up per game, they're giving Brady a chance to win. Now, you have to realize there's no one on this Patriots defense that's very, very good. I mean, they have a couple good. Their linebacker Mayo. They have
Patrick
Chung, safety, but their cornerbacks are rookies or second-year players. And let's not forget their defensive ends. One of them was almost barely cut at the start of the year, and Andre Carter ended up leading the team in sacks. Nobody wanted to sign him. So this is a typical Belichick team that a lot of guys that nobody wanted, Belichick brings them in and molds them into what he always does. Look at Wes Welker when he was at Miami. He was there for a few years, and no one wanted to put him in as receiver. Who thought Wes Welker could be a receiver? No way. Belichick uses his mind, says we got to get him, brings him over to New England, and for 4 years in a row he's leading the league in receptions. Now we got to give credit to Brady as well, but that's a Belichick. Belichick is a GM as well. I really think the fans need to give Belichick more credit.
Well, it's more than just that. They have to realize that these types of plays happen. in sports. Yes, you overthrow a receiver. Yes, you underthrow a receiver. Yes, you drop a pass. It happens. And you did hear the announcers saying that, that specific play where Wes Welker dropped the pass in the fourth quarter at the Giants' 20, granted probably the biggest pass of his career to receive. They say he makes that 100 out of 100 times, which, of course, we all know Chris Collinsworth just does not realize the numerator has to be smaller than the denominator. But nonetheless, 99% of the time, Wes Welker is catching that pass. It happens. This is sports. It's why you have the human aspect to the game. It's what makes it so exciting. The fact that you want to go back to the San Francisco-New York Giants game and say that Kyle Williams, who fumbled twice, was getting death threats after the game. It's moronic. It's stupid. People have bad games. That's what happens. Wayne Gretzky never had a bet. I'm sure he was not playing at his best every single game. And there were games where he didn't score a point. There were games where his line, when he was on the ice, they allowed 2, 3, 4 goals. It happens. You have bad games.
Fans need to just simply understand that every athlete that goes out there gives 110%, and they're human, as you said. They can make mistakes, and Welker usually catches that pass, and Brady usually throws even a better pass. A lot of people are saying that Brady didn't throw the best pass. But what can you do? That there's still more plays to make. It's not fair to point, because Welker dropped that pass, they lost. I mean, if the defense stops the Giants from driving, then it's a different game. You can go all around. It depends on who you want to point to and what you want to say.
Well, you know that there's one other fan base that is kind of right there with the New England Patriots fan base, and that's of the Chicago Cubs. Because, hey, if it wasn't for Steve Bartman, we go to the World Series and win the World Series. No, geniuses. That was Game 6. You were still up by 1 run. It was a foul ball. Essentially, that meant nothing. There were 5 outs to go for the end of the game. Okay, you lose Game 6. There's still Game 7 to be played. Here, so also in the Super Bowl. All right? You're still leading after that entire drive. You still have a lead. If you can hold the Giants and make sure that they don't score, guess what? You have the lead. You win.
You win the Super Bowl.
Wow.
That's
Who would have
correct.
thought that? And I really now understand why Tom Brady lives in Los Angeles and not in Massachusetts. I really do. Because if you have fans or sports writers or people in that area who are such two-faced, fickle type sports fans, then of course you're not going to want to live anywhere near there, where one day they're saying, hey, you're awesome, you're fantastic, you're super duper fabulous, and then the next day they're like, failure, die, go away, be traded, I don't know, something. Of course you're not going to want to be there. Would you want to pet a dog that is going to bite you a couple seconds later? I mean, I don't want to.
No, I mean, the main issue here is that Tom Brady completed 16 passes in a row. You don't hear any of the fans talking about that. You don't even hear any of the experts talking about that. They're just talking about the fact that he'd go 6 for 15 in the fourth quarter. But a few of those plays were Hail Marys. There was a Wes Welker drop. There was Hernandez drop. There was a Deion Branch drop. So
yeah, if you have 80 yards to drive with 57 seconds left, and the first 2 plays that you throw, the first 2 passes are dropped, yeah, that just goes from very difficult to mission impossible. And even then, they still came about 1.5 feet of ball in air short of a one-legged Gronkowski coming down with the immaculate reception number 2.
You can say that if Gronkowski was 100%, he would have made that catch. It really just depends what you want to point to, but at the end of the game, it's a score that matters, and you know that both teams put 100% effort. The thing you got to appreciate about the Patriots is they don't talk bad about each other. You saw the Jets this year. At the end of the year, they had a lot of turmoil. You had Santonio Holmes saying, I don't want to play for Sanchez. You had Rex Ryan saying he couldn't control the team. But
saying he had no idea what was going on.
No idea. And the Patriots, what do you hear? You hear Giselle, Tom Brady's wife, is talking crap about Wes Welker and other players.
She should learn from Jessica Simpson. That just keep your mouth shut, look beautiful, walk down the aisle, you'd be great. Just zip it.
Exactly, as Brandon Jacobs said today or yesterday, zip it. It's your husband did the best he could, and I don't know. The thing that's interesting though is right after Giselle said that, Tom Brady in his press conference said, I love Wes Welker. He's my guy, and I love him till the end. It doesn't matter who dropped that, and that's very important to hear for your star player say, to make sure that everyone's on the same team. And it was a very difficult loss. The Patriots were trying to win for Myra Kraft, who died before the season. But everyone gave it their all, and they just fell short at the end.
Look, it's what happens. It's why you play the game. Every Sunday counts. But one thing before we go to commercial break for you to think of, to bear in mind is this is football. This is unlike any other sport. And simply, if you want me to point to I'll point to one proof for this. Have you ever heard of another sport where they will try to run players out of the city because the team failed to win the championship when they had really no business of making it all the way there? I mean, we know, for example, I know golf is not a sport, but nonetheless, Jack Nicklaus won 18 majors as a professional, but he finished second in 19 majors as well. Anybody going to call him the former Golden Bear? The way that some of the writers called Tom Brady the former Golden Boy this week? No, but that's why it's football, because it's a lot of fun and people make a lot of money and they do what they do best. You're listening to Louis Live, the SCG Spectacular, here on Israel Sports Radio. We'll be right back after these messages.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Shutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Harry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.IsraelGym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live, the SCG Extravaganza Spectacular, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to be awesome for the rest of the way. Taquan Underwood. This kid was brought in by the Patriots, drafted by the Pats as a 7th rounder overall a couple of years ago. He loves the Patriots so much that he even has a haircut on the back of his head with the Pats logo. To commemorate and to show their appreciation to Tiquan, the Patriots went ahead and on Super Bowl Sunday Eve, they cut him. So the reason why they cut him was because they thought that if they would make more room for another pass rusher, that they would be able to get at Eli Manning, and we all know how that ended up working out for them. Maybe if they would have kept Tiquan on the squad, maybe he might have actually come up with a big play on defense. Anyways, who knows? Maybe it's just because I love the kid because we both share or offense. That's true. He has another couple short paws that he has, or maybe I'm just in a love affair with this kid because we share the same birthday. Who knows? Anyhow. The Patriots went ahead, even though they cut him on Super Bowl Eve, they re-signed him back to the team. And if you're Tiquan, you're probably okay with this because, A, you get to play for the team that's kind of on your head. Also, you don't have to share in the whole excruciating suffering and pain that your team went through after losing, especially because you still get that $44,000 bonus paycheck from the NFL for making it to the Super Bowl. Talking about some other players who might be cut from their team that they so dearly love, Peyton Manning looks like he's heading out the door in Indianapolis. Doesn't look like there's going to be much patchwork done when he meets with Jim Irsay by the end of the week. What do you see coming out from the meeting between these two stalwarts in Indianapolis?
Well, these two guys have been going back and forth at each other. They said they wouldn't have any coverage on it during the Super Bowl. They did. Before the Super Bowl, sorry. For a while, I believe that Peyton Manning would stay with the Colts. This was a couple months ago, but in the last couple weeks, it's become very obvious through the behavior of Jim Irsay that this is just not a good marriage, and that the Colts are going to go ahead and draft Andrew Luck, or who knows, Griffin. Probably not.
Robert Griffin III over Andrew Luck?
People are saying, his stock rose at the end of the year.
Who's saying it? I want to take him to task.
I've heard Mel Kiper mentioned a couple times, but he's a little crazy.
I love that hair.
Well, anyway, the Colts have a tough decision to make. They either can go with signing Manning and giving him his $28 million bonus, which is a ridiculous amount of money. Brady and Manning last year were the number one paid quarterbacks, and as we know, Manning didn't even play. But to give Manning $28 million bonus plus $7 million base salary, that's $35 million. To give him that for 1 year, when you don't know what his health is, when you don't really know how he's coming back from this injury. Yes, his general doctor said that he was cleared, but the Colts doctors are a little wary, and that makes you have to wonder, why are the Colts doctors so hesitant?
But wouldn't you say that with contracts as big as this, when you have players on such stature, money figures thrown out that are as high and astronomical as this bonus potentially for Peyton Manning come March 8th that the Colts will have to make a decision with, don't you think it's insured? And if there's some problem with that, then the insurance company will, reimburse the Colts, for lack of a better word?
Well, they're looking into that right now. The last thing that I saw is that Manning is looking with Jim Irsay, this was a few days ago, to possibly change the signing bonus. Now, a lot of sources around the league are saying, why would Manning give up a $28 million signing bonus? Well, really, why in the first place did Manning give the Colts the chance to opt out of his contract? And the reason is because he was worried about his health. Manning is a class act guy who is the heart of the Indianapolis Colts. He's been the face of the franchise for 14 years now. And he just wants what's the best for the Colts. And I believe that at the end of the day, he's just going to realize, he had a very good run. He either can retire as a Colt and go down as the greatest Colt in history. You can argue John Unitas, blah, 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 who knows. Or you can go to another team, get his money. There's a few teams that he can go to.
I've been hearing some rumors that the Dolphins are interested, the Redskins are interested. There's even that media generated. The Jets are interested, but come on, let's be realistic. He's not going to the Jets. I think a perfect fit for him actually would be in Arizona because he's got a lot of weapons to work
Larry
with.
Fitzgerald.
The only problem is Arizona kind of owes a lot of money to this guy named
Kevin
Cobb.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A little bit of an issue with Arizona, but if you just look at player per the personnel as to where he would fit, where Peyton would fit to play perfectly would be in the Sun Devil in Arizona.
Right. Let's break this down. Let's start with the Redskins. Now, Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, has been known to take a few crazy chances on quarterbacks. He had Mark Brunell play.
A few. Wow, that's a very understatement right there.
He believes in quarterbacks who are past their prime. Now, a couple times it's worked.
Age blinds. Come on. Have you never heard that concept?
Mark Brunell was past his prime, but he came in with Joe Gibbs, and they went to the playoffs with him. Donovan McNabb, we know that didn't work too well, but Peyton Manning, Redskins are number one franchise team money-wise. They have the most money to give. It's a great market. Washington, D.C., have a lot of fans. You get to be near New York. And he gets to be in the same division as his brother. Think about those rivalries. Giants, Redskins.
Who will Archie and his wife root for?
Oh man,
it's a good thing in this Super Bowl it wasn't Giants versus the Colts, because then they would have a real big problem. It was very simple and easy for them in this one. They all just rooted for Eli.
And of course, beating Brady is even better. Why wouldn't beating Brady is a great thing? But back to Manning. Problem with the Redskins I see is they don't really have any receivers. Santana Moss is gone. He's old. They probably will release him. Chris Cooley just hasn't been the same for a few years. And Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks, but he really has no one to throw to, and that could probably be a concern for him.
Well, wouldn't you say that if Washington has a lot of money to work with and to dole out, wouldn't they perhaps go after Vincent Jackson, who's sick and tired of San Diego and all of what A.J. Smith has been running around with him? Or even better, do one up and go after the Dream Team's big weapon known as Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, I see Deshaun Jackson and Peyton Manning as a great fit. Jackson can run down the field. He can make great catches. The problem is are the Redskins willing to give up on Beck and Grossman? Obviously, yes. Okay, I'm glad. Well, they have him under contract.
That's not even a question. It's like, really? John Beck? Rex Grossman? Who's the other sexy Rexy?
Sexy Rexy. That's, Seriously? He has some games, he has a few good games here and there.
Yeah, the quarterback worthy, maybe as a backup. I don't know.
True, very true.
This kid, I don't know. Could he even make it in Division I? Today, with what you've got, I mean,
look seriously. At all that. It's true. He's not. He used when he was actually went to. I lived in the town where he was from, and he was known in high school as being a very good athlete. He went to college that sort of wear down, and by the time he got to the NFL, you can see he's put on some weight. You can't run out of the pocket as well.
It's like Donovan McNabb with that weight.
Man. Oh man,
right
what happened to Donovan McNabb?
He stopped eating Campbell's Chunky Soup.
Donovan McNabb's career might be over just as T.O.'s. T.O. is now playing in what league is it?
It's an indoor arena league, but I would love to see another team give T.O. a chance. You know what? Even better, I would love to see the Cincinnati Bengals. It's never going to happen.
He had a great season with them.
It won't happen because they are still going to view him as a toxic kind of character in the locker room, whatever. But I would love to see another NFL team give T.O. a chance. I mean, just look at he's in such phenomenal shape. Obviously,
amazing shape for his age.
It's the knee that's the big question. Can he cut? How sharply can he cut? How can he run the same routes that he was able to? Look, here's how it works with the knee as far as I can understand it. If you run back and forth, you're fine. Just give him go routes. Just let him go. He's big, he's tall, he's tough. Throw the ball up. If not, use him in certain scenarios like, let's say, a goal line situation, fade route or something like that.
Sure.
The fade route in itself is overrated, but here you have a big target. Look at the Jets. It took Brian Schottenheimer 6 weeks to realize that he has a 6'4", 220-pound target sitting on the bench. But once he found him,
he made a lot of plays.
He made a bunch of plays, made a bunch of catches. So maybe that's what T.O. could be good for now, like a specialist.
So what team would you see him fitting in with next year?
Well, T.O., I mean, heck, if Mr. Snyder is willing to give all that money, why not bring him to Washington?
Let's have a new Redskins team next year. Manning, Owens, Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson.
Let's have a new
Vincent
team.
Jackson. Let's do it.
Let's crown the Redskins.
I love this.
Let's crown the Redskins as the NFC East champions already, right now.
With a 6-10 record, really? I don't know.
They have a good defense.
That's true.
They just need an offense. The fan base is there.
Well, what are you going to do with running back situation? That's the key here. Also, you want to bring in somebody like LT, not. I mean, we're going on the old geezer route here.
Right.
Bring in LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, also, he's still got some gas left in his tank. He can still.
He kind of
ran
a
little bit.
True. I'm just not sure if he's still. There's been rumors that he might retire.
Yeah, he's going to retire.
Probably. I'm not sure he wants to, go to a new team, learn their playbook.
No, he's going to retire. I highly doubt he's going to come back to the Jets for another season after what he saw in the locker room as this season turned.
People say that LT is one of the class acts in the game and to have to be involved in a Jets turmoil where you have Santonio Holmes complaining and everyone all over the place. LT was the one who was talking to the media and telling them how horrible it was for him at the end just to go to practice. And
it's tough to be in that situation where it all starts from the top, where you have your coach who self-explains that he was unsure, he had no idea of the situation that was going on in the locker room. And when it all starts from there and then you give the wrong people, the wrong players, the captaincy, that's pretty much where you run with it. I mean, some of these players were born with silver spoons in their mouths, and they don't know what it means to work hard and to be put into a corner where you have to work your way out of. And everything to them has just been given to them on a silver platter from day one, and they expect things to happen. They expect people to go jumping for them. And when they say jump, they expect the reply and the retort response to be how high. It doesn't work that way in the NFL, and especially with the situation on in New York, it was really tough for a lot of those players to deal with, to see that there were some people on their own team who felt like they deserved, even though they couldn't prove any reason for them to be deserving of anything.
Let's go on with the Jets, though. Can the Jets make a move for Manning? That's really the question.
All right. Well, we'll get on with the Jets. We're pushed for time here. We got to take a commercial break. We'll get on with the Jets right after these short and quick commercial messages. You're listening to Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Shutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live, it's there's a couple questions that this offseason is really boiling down to, and of course one of those questions is what is going to happen to Peyton. That we fairly addressed that in the last segment, and we have no idea what's going to end up happening to him because it's pretty much a 50-50 coin flip of a chance as to if he's going to stay in Indianapolis or end up on any given team that really needs a quarterback. But the another question is regarding the Jets. Can they and how will they reclaim themselves?
Well, I think it begins with, making Santonio Holmes and Sanchez believe that they can work together. The year before, they had a great year together.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? You sit them down and you say, listen, we can't let this happen again. We both care about winning. This organization is all about winning. They've been to 2 AFC championship games in a row before not making the playoffs. Santonio Holmes is a proven winner at Ohio State. Sanchez is a proven winner at University of Southern California, and these guys want to win. They are under the wing of Rex Ryan, who is, you call him crazy, call him whatever you want to call him, but he loves to win.
Bombastic.
Exactly. And, I really believe that Rex Ryan can sit them down and say, listen, we need to get you guys to mold together. We need you guys to believe in each other again like you did a few years ago. And if we get that chemistry back, we're a dangerous team. Now,
but is this going to be done over Chick-fil-A's?
This could be done anywhere. This could be done. Who knows? It might have been done over at the Super Bowl in a private box, eating whatever they were eating, talking, schmoozing. Who knows?
No. Lies.
Why not? The problem too is the defense. It's getting a little old. We don't really know. We need the Jets need to have a solid draft, and they need to think about the running game. Green didn't have such a good year last year. He was kind of up and down. LT also, he was a good number 2, but at the end of the day, they didn't have a solid running game. And the Jets always pride themselves on having a good running game.
That's why they brought in, what's his face? Tony Sperano, to make it back to a ground and pound type style that they're used to. For some reason, the Jets, here's how it works with them, right? You got this brand new Cadillac. It's gorgeous. It looks great. It runs smoothly. And then you decide that you're going to take the engine, this V8 engine, and you're going to make it into a V6. Why? That's kind of what the Jets did with their team. You have a ground and pound attack that's been proven to work, and then you allow Sanchez, you give him a game plan that has him throwing 59 times. That doesn't work.
Yeah, well, that's really been the problem this year. Sanchez has not been able to be consistent. You could argue that he's known for being a good quarterback. Now, what is being a good quarterback? Is that a statistics? Is that what? It's a lot of things. But in New York, it's winning. Let's not forget that. And he didn't have the best numbers
Giants
even when they were winning.
Let everybody know.
Exactly.
It's all about winning.
It's all about winning. Yankees, any New York team, it's about winning. Even Knicks, even though they don't win. But
we're not going to talk about that.
Let's not talk about that. Even though we will be talking about that later on the show.
We'll get to it.
Right.
Try to push it off for as long as possible.
But the Jets just need to come together as a team and start to believe in each other because we've seen what they can do. We've seen Sanchez have good games. We've seen Sanchez beat the Colts in Indianapolis. We've seen him do all this. So it's just, like we talked about earlier, players are human. Sanchez had a bad year, and as a Jets fan, you should hopefully believe that he'll bounce back and have a great year. Santonio Holmes just signed a contract for $15 million guaranteed, and that's great news.
It wasn't that he signed the contract; it was the contract kicked in.
Right.
But here's the thing, though, with Sanchez. You want to talk about players having a bad season? Everybody's saying with Sanchez he regressed a lot this year.
Right? That's
but
what I mean.
When you look at other quarterbacks who also were really good and did not have a good season this year, the first name that comes to mind is Phillip Rivers of the San Diego Chargers, who had an awful year.
Horrible.
But the difference that was shown to me between Sanchez and Rivers put together, and this is probably where the class of Sanchez is not in, where he's trying to be. Rivers put together, towards the end of the season, when pretty much all hope was lost, he still put together a solid string of games where he played well and he got the team to believe in what? I don't know, but he got the team to believe, at least in winning, showing some worth and showing some value for themselves, showing some pride. With regards to the Jets, with regards to Sanchez, they ended up the season on a 3-game losing streak. He seemed as if he was just not interested in playing. He seemed like, okay, yeah, whatever. Part of the issue with the Jets, I think, for him, and this has to be rectified in the offseason, and it's very easily rectified, is that Sanchez does not have any true real challenge for his job. Mark Brunell is not throwing the football every day at 40 years old, 41 years old.
Not happening.
What the Jets need to do is bring in a proven veteran or a journeyman quarterback who's looking for something to prove. Bring him into challenge for that job. Make it from day one. This is an open quarterback challenge. Go.
I completely agree. I mean, you're right. Last year, a few times, Rex Ryan would give Brunell a few first team snaps in practice, and the Jets would joke that kind of motivated Sanchez to have good games or to play better. And you know what? He did. He usually bounced back after that. But after he did that the third or fourth time, maybe it'll work the first time, maybe it'll work the second time, but you can't keep doing that. You have to have a player who believes in himself. And it just seems that Sanchez just completely stopped believing in himself. Now, if you're a leader of the team, if you're a quarterback, if you're going to take those men on the field and you're going to look in their eyes and have faith that you're going to win the game, You gotta have faith in your own self. You gotta know that you can drive the team down the field and score. You gotta know that if your defense gets a stop, you can score. Sanchez didn't demonstrate that. Sanchez, it's tough being a receiver. It's tough being a defensive player when you know that your leader is not really there. And you're right.
He's busy, thinking about
it's
the
off
next
season.
GQ shoot.
Exactly. It's New York. You go to all the celebrity shows. But you're right. They need to bring in a proven quarterback. Who's maybe even Byron Leftwich, I believe, might be a free agent. Someone like that.
I was thinking more like maybe David Gerard, who's got a lot to prove. He lost a starting job to this past season in Jacksonville. He's got a lot to prove. He lost it, of course, to Blaine Gabbert. And
had a horrible year.
He would love to have another crack at getting a starting job, or for that matter, will the Jets bring in Matt Flynn, who basically is going to get this fat contract for having one awesome game where he tied an NFL record and threw for 6 touchdowns. The question with Matt Flynn, and that's just a separate story, is Matt Flynn, is he a quarterback that's as good or can be as good as the numbers that he threw up? Or is he just a product of a system that's in place in Green Bay?
That's a very good question. You could say the same thing about Tom Brady in New England, but with Matt Flynn, I believe that he's learned under Aaron Rodgers, and that wasn't the first good game he had. He's played before.
Yeah, he has come in.
He played the Patriots a couple of years earlier. Was it the year before? And he showed that he can play against most teams. Now, you could say it's a style of offense and whatever.
And offensive weapons. Jeez.
Right, the receivers, amazing receivers. But he's a solid quarterback. He throws the ball well. He has a lot of confidence. And you could argue, the best quarterback in the league this year, the MVP.
So I would definitely.
So, yeah.
If Green Bay franchises Matt Flynn, then I would say, okay, you want to stay away from that because you're just going to, for a quarterback test, for a motivation for your quarterback, you're going to give away 2 first-rounders. It's not worth it. But if the Green Bay Packers don't franchise Flynn, which is unlikely because they're going to want to keep it, they're going to want to get something in return for him, then I would actually go to sign him as of course, not necessarily as a backup, but with you bring him in the first day and you say, look, we want you to play for our team. We are going to give you an open tryout come training camp. It's between you and Mark Sanchez. Of course, right now it's Sanchez's job to lose, but if you can prove to us why we should give you the job, then we'll give it to you. Now, of course, you have to be real and true to your word if you're going to do something like that, something as drastic as that, because some people will look at it as a drastic measure, but you got to bring somebody into the Jets to motivate Sanchez to play better, and I think either Flynn or somebody like David Gerard, who is still hungry, he knows what it feels like to be a starting quarterback for an NFL franchise, and a successful one at that, and he suddenly found himself in the crapper, and he wants to get another crack at it to have a chance to prove to all of his doubters and his critics that he still has the goods. He knows what it is. He knows how to get it done and what it takes to get it done. But we'll see. Look, in time we'll tell where Matt Flynn will end up, what's going to happen with the Jets, and, of course, what's going to happen with the first-round draft pick? Is it going to be Luck or RG3? And with that said, what will the Rams do with their second overall pick? Will they keep it and perhaps draft a wide receiver that they so desperately need? Will they trade that number 2 pick and stockpile more drafts for this year and next year's draft?
You got to believe that they're going to stick with Bradford. Yes, he had a bad year, but you got ankle sprain, a lot of injuries.
Injury prone. That's the problem.
And no one really to throw to, and not very good defense. And Jackson was out a lot. And it's just a lot of inconsistency.
There's a lot of holes that the Rams need to fill.
Exactly, but let's put away the quarterback. They're not going to get a quarterback. Receiver, maybe, but I think they need to work on the offensive line. They need to work on their defense. There's a lot of potential things they can do, but the most important thing they need to focus on is, I would say, is probably the offensive line.
It wouldn't shock me if they trade their number 2 pick and try to shore up all those various holes on the offensive line, on the defensive front. They need 2 linebackers. They need a defensive back. They need a corner. It wouldn't surprise me that they would try to stockpile as many picks for this year and next year's drafts as possible for some other team who wants the opportunity to draft the other of Andrew Luck or Robert Griffin III, or perhaps maybe even take a reach and a stretch and draft another quarterback, perhaps like Kellen Moore out of Boise State or something like that, who we know he can throw. Oh, do we know he can throw and make plays? But that's all for right now. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back after these few short commercial messages. You're listening to Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed frequent flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Shutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live. It's interesting going from the pros to, or rather from going from the college ranks to the pros, and here you have what's been going on with the Big Ten and how they've been making a lot of noise over the last few days, for better or for worse. You got Urban Meyer. All right, now this guy's in Florida as their head coach, and he's got terrifically Tebow winning 2 back-to-back national championships. All is well. Or so we think. Then Urban Meyer allows for the rest of the world to know that he is not well. So he needs to take a leave of absence for health reasons. He leaves, comes back the next day as their coach. Okay, he coaches for another season, and then again the same thing happens. Health concerns, health issues, and now he actually says he's done with coaching, period, end of story, and he goes to work for the worldwide leader of sports, known as ESPN. He is at ESPN for about 9 months, and then then Jim Tressel gets fired because Ohio State runs through this whole scandal, and suddenly Urban Meyer's dream job of going to his alma mater to be the head coach at the place where he went to school at Ohio State becomes available. Interesting. Suddenly, there are no more health concerns. Suddenly, there are no more health issues. Urban Meyer has been named the coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Fast forward now to today. Urban Meyer, since starting the whole recruiting process, went ahead and plucked 8 players, 8 prospects who had verbally committed to other schools, and he plucked them out from those schools and brought them to Ohio State in a 2-month span. The issue here with college sports is you have this like gentleman's agreement. Okay, if a player commits to going somewhere, then he's kind of like off limits. And you had some coaches like Mark D'Antonio from Michigan State. He called it unethical, and then of course later on he said that was just out of context. Wisconsin's head coach Brett Bielema was just so ticked by this, he actually called Urban Meyer to tell him off for what he did. But this whole idea of a gentleman's agreement, it's such bogus. I mean, look, Lane Kiffin, who's one of Urban Meyer's arch enemies when it comes to head coaching ranks in college football, head coach at USC, said that this whole gentleman's agreement about, recruiting guys and things like that, I'm paraphrasing here, he said, what would happen if I go to my athletic director and say, hey, there's this great player, hasn't signed his letter of intent yet, and we still might have a chance to sign him, but we're not going to really go recruit him because he already committed somewhere else. Does that make sense? Of course you're going to go chase after him. Of course you're going to try to make your college football team better, or at any given opportunity that you can, any chance or rhyme or reason that is given to you, you're going to go after that. You're going to take that avenue that is presented to you. So all really Urban Meyer did was call it as it is, and that's just bogus. What do you think?
Let's start off with the fact Urban Meyer showing up at Ohio State, as you said, 9 months after working for ESPN for 9 months. Now, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm thinking to myself, how did this happen? He said that he was not feeling well after the SEC championship game against Alabama. Then he took it back and said, I'm okay. Then suddenly, again, not health concerns. I'm going to have to retire. I want to be with my family. Fine. So I'm a Florida fan. I understand, health comes first. Family is important. He's still a little young, so it's still kind of weird. But fine, health. Then, 9 months later, shows up at Ohio State, one of the top jobs in the country. If I'm a Florida fan, I'd be really mad. He left because of his health, and now he's fine. But that's just my opinion on that.
But look at that. Okay, let's take it one step at a time now. You're looking at it from the whole picture. Take it one step at a time. When he said, I am retiring because of familial obligations and health concerns, that was true. He really had health concerns, and he really wanted to spend more time with his family. And that's why he figured if he works in Bristol, Connecticut, he'll be able to do more of that as opposed to when he was coaching. However, once this job came up, suddenly he reconsidered everything was suddenly on the table. He went to his doctors and said, okay, what's the deal? He went to his family and said, look, really, help me out here. I'm in a bit of a bind, a bit of a pickle over here. This is the job of a lifetime. I've always dreamt about this. Right. From the first day that I ever coached, it was always, wow, can I get to that top of that Ohio State mountain and coach in front of in a stadium that holds 105,000 plus people? And his wife and kids said go for it, and his doctors gave him the okay with regards to the health. So he's gonna go after it. If you're a Florida Gators fan, look, be happy. You won 2 national championships. You could thank him. You could thank Tim Tebow. You could thank Jesus. Take whichever pick of the lot that you want to. Thank them all. Even write them rosy letters. I don't know. Seal it with a kiss for all I care. But the fact of the matter is that at the time when he left, it was true and a real. I believe that it was a legit reason. And
it's true.
He came back.
It's been known. He had chest pains. That's a fact. You're right. Correct. You're right. He did do it. He helped the Florida program, which was actually at the time kind of known for its basketball program. Let's not forget that. He came from Utah. He's been successful everywhere he's been.
Well, I think that's mostly because he's just a bloody. When he comes to recruiting, this man wrote the book.
He is a man for recruiting.
To be persistently consistent and resistant to all outside influences. He is a master recruiter, bar none.
Yeah, he is, and he showed that at Utah and even before at Bowling Green State when he was there. And now he's shown it at Ohio State. Ohio State had a great recruiting class come in.
Talking about college football, who do you think right now has got the best shot of playing for the BCS National Championship game?
Well, LSU looks pretty good. They have a couple guys leaving. Their cornerbacks are leaving.
Even though they got absolutely demolished in the championship game this past year, 21 to a big fat donut.
Yeah, I'd have to stay with LSU.
Okay.
I think they have a great coach. Les Miles is a great coach. It's true their cornerbacks will probably be leaving for the NFL. Not probably, they will be. But they still have a decent offense coming back. They have a great defense coming back. Alabama's losing a lot to the pros. They got an amazing recruiting class this year. But I'm going to go with LSU right now. Yeah, LSU.
All right, interesting. So it'll be LSU going back to the title game. Who are they going to play?
You may think I'm crazy, but maybe it could be Alabama. I know I just said Alabama's losing so much, but look what they're gaining. What Nick Saban's able to do every year. You want to talk about a recruiter. You got Urban Meyer. He does it in his own way, but Nick Saban convinces you that he's going to not only get you prepared in the college game, but he's going to get you ready for the pros. And he's shown that with a lot of players. Defense, offense, doesn't matter. And the players have succeeded in the NFL. So, and he has a great track record, and also when he was at LSU. Let's not forget that. But I really think that the last couple of years, LSU and Alabama are just really above everyone else. Their defense is just amazing. Some people, their defenses I've never seen a better defense, especially last year. The Alabama defense, the LSU cornerbacks, 2 All-Americans as cornerbacks. How is that even possible? It's coaching. And right now, I mean, you have Oklahoma supposed to be very good next year.
Oh, come on, Oklahoma! Look at what Oklahoma State. Look at what those Cowboys did towards the end of the season. They should have been. They should have been in the national.
The Cowboys are rebuilding. Though Blackman's gone. Their quarterback's gone. The 28-year-old quarterback is gone. They had a great year. Good for Mike Gundy, the coach there. Let's not forget him as the guy who stood up for his player against the press. What was it that he said? Anyway.
He defended him like any coach should do. That's exactly what it was.
And they had a great year. But this year, I'm going to say the Sooners will definitely be back. They've had a couple weird years, off years, and Stoops, I wouldn't say he's feeling the pressure, but fans in Norman are expecting higher expectations, and this could be the year. And Notre Dame could have a very solid year.
I will not allow for Ari Louis to continue to gloat. Notre Dame will not have
Ari Louis, Notre Dame could be well this year. They got a great freshman quarterback who committed to Indiana, which is my team, by the way, which got the whole state excited. Everyone said, the number one quarterback at the time. Then, no, never mind. I'm not going to go to Indiana. Why would I go to Indiana? One of the worst teams in the country, honestly, in Division I.
I'm going to go to a place where they test drive Hummers. I love the idea of going to South Bend. It's fantastic. But look, it's going to be a lot of fun come the college football season.
As every year.
But we have to talk about the college basketball extravaganza known as March Madness, but we'll get more onto that when we return after these quick commercial breaks. You're listening to Louis Live here on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Shutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Harry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live, and we promised that we were going to deliver. We promised you we were going to have college basketball. So
yes.
We're going to deliver some college basketball.
Great night last night for college hoops.
And what happened this is the biggest game, not so much as it was, okay, that's a lie. Yes, it was so much because it was Duke versus North Carolina. But then you throw in the fact that this game came down to the wire. North Carolina had a lead, a 10-point lead with 2:10 to go. And the Duke squad pulls out a 85-84 win with a shot, a three-pointer at the end of the game by Doc Rivers' son, Austin Rivers. And this is hectic, man. Look, you have first one of their players airballs a three-pointer from the wing. It was so badly off target, and the fact that they were still able to score and win and somehow pull out a victory is it's mind-blowing how this happened. I don't know. I didn't catch that much of the game, but from what I saw, it looked like the Tar Heels had this game in hand, and it literally was theirs to lose.
Well, yeah. I actually got to catch the whole game. Stayed up till 6 in the morning.
Jeez. I would do that if it was like Sunday morning football, Monday morning football, but I
couldn't sleep, so you know what? I figured why not put on the TV and let's watch it. So as you said, the game, honestly, from my opinion, the game was dominated by North Carolina. They're the number one team in the country in rebounds, and they played really well in the first half. They had a 3-point lead in the half. Problem was Harrison Barnes, who's their star player for North Carolina, guard, was not playing very well, wasn't shooting the ball with a lot of confidence, but Tyler Zeller was playing amazing, had 19 points at halftime, and just showed a lot of poise that give me the ball and I will score. So going to halftime with a 3-point lead for North Carolina, fans are going crazy. Dick Vitale going, baby, baby, all his craziness as usual. Great atmosphere. Let's not forget who Dick Vitale is a fan of. And Jay Billis was calling the game, former Duke player. Second half starts the same, but we start to notice that North Carolina gets a little sloppy on guarding the perimeter. And that's really what this game came down to, is that North Carolina hit 1 3-pointer in the game, and Duke hit 14. Now, you just look at that stat right there, it's hard to even believe that North Carolina was dominating this game, but they were. And they had a 10-point lead, as Yossi G said, with 2 minutes left, and they won a 13-2 run in Chapel Hill. This isn't in Cameron Stadium. This is in Chapel Hill, with the freshman leader, Austin Rivers, Doc Rivers' son, who just goes bananas and says, I'm going to take over this game. I want to be freshman of the year. We're talking about Anthony Davis in Kentucky. We're talking about Tyler Zeller at Indiana. He put his name and said, I want to take over this game.
Well, maybe that was the key reason why they ended up winning, was because it was not at Cameron Indoor Stadium. What's been going on with the Cameron Crazies, as they're known, the Duke Crazies, they've gone soft this year. They've gone, some might even go to say lazy. You got 1,200 student seats that are reserved for the students. Only 650 of them on an average night are full. So, firstly, they're selling the other 550 seats to the general admission, attendance, audience, whatnot. What's going on with the Duke crazies? It only seems that one big reason why the Duke Blue Devils won this game was because it was in Chapel Hill. It was at North Carolina, and they were on the road.
Well, yeah, the past few years, as you said, the Duke fans have been getting less tickets and selling more tickets and coming to games less. And you got to wonder why. You know, Duke has been a very solid team. Money, you're right. It's hard being a college student. Everyone knows that, you know.
25 cents for a beer on nickel night. It's expensive.
It's hard.
Expensive.
You know, you're paying for books, you're paying for your girlfriend, you're paying for your boyfriend, you're paying.
Certainly hope they're not paying for their girlfriend from the street corner. I'm just saying. Yeah,
but we're talking about Duke, probably one of the top 3-4 programs in the country. Some could argue one. And what's going on there? I would just think that everything comes to an end, and the Duke fans they're not finished following their team, but it's not as big anymore, you know. Also, Duke is known for being a very good school. Academics have gone up increasingly in the past 10 years. People can't make it to games. They have to study. They have a test. And I think
what is this bogus you speak of exams?
Duke
and what other kind of junk from here? This is a game. This is the Duke Blue Devils, man. This is the real deal. This is what you came to college for.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Duke is staying consistent. They're still winning, and they showed their fans back in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Come to our games. We can beat North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Come to. When they play in the rematch, which is the last big Saturday night game on ESPN, that will be in Duke, Cameron or Sam. When that happens, come in. Let's make this crazy. The thing I've always respected about the Duke fans is there's not a lot of people there. You know, people watch the games and they see how crazy it is, how loud it is, and they assume, it must be a huge stadium. A lot of fans, crazy. But it's a 6,000 people stadium. 6,000-person stadium. That's very, very small for, you look at Indiana, 18, 17,000. You look at North Carolina, 22,000. Syracuse was fitting 30,000 last night. And Duke, 6,000. They still, with the amount of people that they have, they make the place go bananas and crazy.
Well, that's because if you have a small space and a lot of people, that's what's going to happen. I mean, we had some people here on the show who were telling us that when they played in Duke, for example, we had Sylvan Landsberg on the show
Virginia
from Haifa, and he was telling when he was playing at Cameron Indoor Stadium, you got fans grabbing at you and scratching you and stuff like that, and it's that's what makes it crazy. Is because they're literally on top of you, and that's what makes it such a tough place to play.
Yeah, you're right. But back to the Duke game, it's very important to say that Duke lost the game before to Miami in overtime, which was a shocker. Miami was a solid team this year. I think they're a couple games over 500 in ACC play, but they're not that good. Let's be honest. And Duke loses this, as sports people like to call trap game right before the big game. So Duke has a lot to prove. People are starting to say, Duke, they're soft. They're not good. The Plumlee brothers down low don't have any offensive game. Rivers is a freshman, has too many turnovers. Ryan Kelly just is not consistent. And, as a Duke player, I don't want to hear that. I come to Duke to win national championships. That's what Rivers said last night. The team, when you get recruited to Duke, you go to win a national championship. You don't go to the Final Four or you want to win.
You don't go to study. You don't go to attend class. We're not going to talk about what happens and how these players get through with grades and whatnot because we know the NCAA is listening into this show. We know all the answers. But you go to win the game, as some of the past NFL coaches were wont to say.
Right. There was also another very big game last night, Georgetown against Syracuse.
And the Qs, number 2, defeating the Hoyas, the number 12 Hoyas in overtime, 64-61. Talk a little bit about that game. This is a game still Fab Melo, the big center for Syracuse, is still out. This is a game where... Is it kind of
No, Fab Melo played this game.
He came back.
He came back this game. Had a pretty good game, actually.
And it seems even so that the Syracuse Orange are still kind of not sure where to go because, hey, Melo was out for a little bit and they slumped here and there, lost a couple games. And also, of course, there's that pending scandal with the whole
assistant coach
with Bernie Fine, which we know is just one big load of farsity BS. More on that in just a moment. But they seem to have taken all of these distractions, off-field distractions, off-court distractions, and still are putting up a really good team night in and night out. What did you collect from last night's game that still gives you reason to believe that Syracuse are for Rizzle?
Well, it's pretty simple. They're a very solid team. You have teams that have a star, and that's who the ball goes to at the end of the game. But this Syracuse team has a ton of great players all around. They have shooters, they have postmen. Last night, Chris Joseph went off for 29 points, and there's any player on the team is capable of doing that, and that's something that's very impressive about a team like that, and that's why they're ranked in the top 3. If you look at the team that's ranked ahead of them, Kentucky, they're almost the same thing. They have 4 or 5 players who are able to dominate the game every night. I also think that Georgetown should be given a lot more credit for their season. They're ranked in the top 15. They came into the season with not a lot of hope for being a good team, and Jason Clark has just been off the chain. He's been an amazing player, and to go into a 30,000 people Syracuse Dome and play the way they did and give his chance a team to win, that's very impressive. I thought Syracuse would go in there, great atmosphere, primetime game on ESPN, win by 10 points, 15 points, but no, it went into overtime. They had a legitimate chance to win the game, but Chris Joseph nailed the 3 with 30 seconds left that just pulled the Cuse ahead, and then on the other end of the court, Jason Clark dribbled around and just tried. It looked like he was scared to pass the ball because he didn't think anyone else can make the 3. But
so what does that say for Syracuse if here you're going up against a team that's ranked 10 slots below you, and it took to overtime to win, but you still barely eked it out. Granted, a win is a win.
A win is a win.
But you have a lot to learn. You still have a long ways to go, and March Madness is right around the corner. Right.
But luckily, they're in the Big East, which is known consistently as one of the top conferences in the league. And this year, it's just as good as it's been. You have Syracuse, Marquette, Notre Dame, Louisville, Georgetown. You have every game you play is a test. There's no easy game. Even when you play, the Rutgers or the University of Southern Florida, the USF, it's still a tough game. And other conferences, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, you got those big games. And after that, you kind of, roll along and play your Nebraska in the Big Ten or Penn State in the Big Ten or in the SEC, Big 12, Texas Tech. My point is, though, in the Big East, you have that time to improve. You get your chance to play a good team every night. Every team has a good player, has a player who was recruited very well out of high school, and that's something that helps the Big East teams improve in the national scene. Like UConn last year, for example, went 9-9 in the conference. No one was talking about them. They had no buzz. They go into Madison Square Garden. They win the Big East tournament. Fine. They win the Big East tournament. Okay, they'll win a game or two in the NCAA tournament. Wrong. They go on to win the national championship as a 9-9 record in the Big East. It just shows you how strong the Big East is. So to answer your question, it's just being able to play against good teams every night and it's an advantage to Syracuse. Also, last night, let's not forget that Jim Boeheim got his 880 win.
Yeah, Jim Boeheim.
Boeheim, sorry.
Big fan of the show, big fan of our program. Also, he talked about his coach. I mean, he's done a really phenomenal job with his young squad and his longtime assistant Bernie Fine not by his side to help him out because of the aforementioned scandal that's been going on in Syracuse. Talk about Boeheim and what he's been able to do to give to the players, show them, teach them in a bit of a different scenario than he has been used to in the past.
Yeah, listen, you got to give him a lot of credit. This Bernie Fine is his top assistant, not even just top assistant. We're talking about one of his closest friends. And it was very hard for the team and obviously for Coach. And he just in his first press conference after all this stuff kind of ended, he just said, things are hard, things are tough, but I'm the leader of this team, I'm the leader of Syracuse, and we're going to bounce back. You saw what happened at Penn State. This whole Paterno thing happened, and Penn State went from being ranked in the top 15, I believe, top 10, to that's it. They were done. They couldn't win their bowl game. They couldn't win their last few games this season. But Syracuse has bounced back from this. The players have shown we want to win for Coach Boeheim, and it's very impressive to see that he didn't just fall down and say, okay, this season we'll play well, we'll do what we can. But no, this season has been a great season. All players are playing really well, and right now they got to be a favorite for a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
I think part of the whole Bernie Fine situation also plays into it here. The players themselves possibly are playing for Coach Fine, in this case former Coach Fine, because they feel, as I see it here, that Bernie Fine has been accused of things that, well, let's go down the list really quickly. You have the first 2 accusers were our stepbrothers, and they, for whatever reason, decided to wait past the time allotted for such things to actually become and turn into an investigation. They waited years to bring this up. Why do you wait years to bring something like this up if this indeed is such a serious scandal, serious thing to talk about? Then you also have the witness or accuser number 3. Who he himself was a child molester. So that already kind of
who do you believe?
Shades him a little bit. He spent time in prison. He also had a little bit of a chit-chat with Bobby Davis, who was the first accuser. He had a little chit-chat with him before he came out to the public. He had a little chit-chat. I don't know, maybe it definitely was not talking about tea and crumpets, that's for sure.
Something seems a little fishy if you ask me.
Accuser number 4 was after he was a guy, an inmate in prison right now, who said that Bernie Fine did certain things that should never be done to people or children or anything. And he, about a week and a half, 2 weeks after he came out with that, said in an affidavit, stated that this is all bogus. He just made it up because, he felt that Bernie didn't treat him properly when he was actually rooming by him, but in fact, Bernie did a really good job with bringing him up as a child, or trying to do the best that he could, and he was trying to get back at Bernie for some stupid thing that happened 40 years ago. But what really blows this out of proportion and kind of shows to me how quick, this was perfect timing, if you want to talk about timing, because it was the spillover from Penn State, the whole scandal there with Sandusky, and what happened over there. Bobby Davis, about a week and a half ago, said that Mrs. Bernie Fine went ahead and she herself slept around, let's just say, with different players on the team and ball boys and things like that. Not naming himself specifically as one of those people, but kind of hinting towards the fact that, hey, this is something that I did as well with her, and really takes this entire situation and just flummoxes me. And I'm kind of looking at this like, what? Who? How? So I don't really know what's going on here when you're talking about Bernie Fine and this whole thing, other than let the facts, let the whole story play out for itself. It's way too early. We look at what happened with Penn State. It took them years till they were able to put this whole thing together and come out with it. This is just the beginning of it, of what I believe will be a very short-lived investigation, because the police will, and all those investigators will eventually see that there is no fruit bearing on this tree. There is no light at the end of this tunnel. It's a dead end. There's nothing here. And I hope that Syracuse will reinstate Bernie Fine to his position of assistant coach for the Syracuse Orangemen and continue to build onto his on-court legacy as being one of the best, if not the best, assistant basketball coach in the history of NCAA basketball.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I don't have much to add on that.
Fair enough. Well, when we come back, we will break down a little bit of the last game that happened. That was Baylor losing to Kansas, big, 68-54, and what Baylor needs to do in order to ensure that they will still have a shot for their conference championship. You're listening to Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Shutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.IsraelGym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live, we try to keep to our promises, and of course we promised you we're going to break down this whole Baylor-Kansas game in which Baylor lost big to Kansas, to the Jayhawks. Talk a little bit about this game. It seems right now the Baylor squad and Kansas, they have a home and home, and right now, if Baylor does not win their next game, which is against Kansas, they're going to go They're going to go 0-2 against Kansas. Right now, they're one game behind the leader of the conference, which is Kansas. And if they lose the next game, they're going to basically kiss away their chance of winning a conference title. They're going to kiss it goodbye. And, of course, their seeding for March Madness is going to take a major hit. And it's going to be a much tougher road ahead if they don't win this game. Now, we know that seasons usually don't come down or are defined by any one game. But if I had to point to one game that Baylor must win, it's got to be this one against Kansas.
Yeah, let's start with the game that was played last night. The biggest thing to me was the field goal shooting percentage. Baylor shot an ugly 36%.
Dismal.
Awful. Kansas shoots 51%. Now, when you do that, you gotta have, if that's what's going to happen, your star player's got to perform, and you got to hope that out of that dismal percentage that your star player played well. And the one word really to define this game is Perry Jones III, the superstar of Baylor.
That's not one word, man. That's a bunch of words.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
One player. All right, I got you. It's a long name.
Long name.
Not Perry Jones, not Perry Jones Sr., not Perry Jones Jr., but Perry Jones the third. Take it away.
Okay. He only had 5 points. Now, when you're a superstar, lottery pick, top 5 pick in the NBA, number 1 player on the team, only scores 5 points at home in a huge rivalry game, you're not going to win. Doesn't matter who you are. It just doesn't matter. You got to have a better performance. Luckily, Pierre Jackson scored 16 points.
No, if you're like, the Denver Broncos and you're playing against,
Tebow.
Kansas City Chiefs, hey, completing 2 passes, you could win a game.
It's true. But we're talking about a different game. We're talking about basketball, more of a team game,
fine.
not
apples and oranges.
Not a Tebow game.
I get the point. Jesus is not helping them. Yes.
Not anymore. But really what it comes down to is Kansas just is starting to get all the pieces together at the right time of the year. And that's something that, if you're a basketball team, you really have to be excited about. Thomas Robinson led the team. Thomas Robinson had 15 points. Tyshawn Taylor was in double digits as well. The biggest star of the X Factor game was Jeff Withey, who had 25 points, which is a career high. This guy scored 0 points in his last game. And, where does this guy come from? He explodes on the scene. And he's not known as really an offensive player. He's kind of in there for his defensive skills. And it's just a very impressive game by Kansas. I just want to really give credit to Bill Self, who's really been able to show, even though a ton of players left for the NBA last year, the Twins. And first they were lottery picks. And, most Kansas fans were saying this was going to be a down year. Maybe not necessarily a down year, but we're not talking, top 10 ranking. We're not talking Big 12 championship. And you know what? Here it is. We're now at a 3-way tie with Missouri, Kansas, and Baylor. Missouri's 9-2. Kansas is 9-2, and Baylor is 8-3. So
right. That's why they have to win this next game against the Kansas Jayhawks in order to have a chance. Otherwise, they're down. They're behind by 2 games. That's a big lead to overcome.
Right. So, also, we got to give credit to Missouri, but we'll do that a little later when we go over teams that have been impressive this year. But really, what it comes down to, bad shooting percentage by Baylor, not a lot of energy. Playing at home, you'd think they'd be pumped, excited, big game. Again, not primetime ESPN2. Well, it was ESPN2, not ESPN, but big game. Students were camping out a few days before to be at this game. If I'm a Baylor student, I'm just really disappointed by the effort. If I'm Coach Drew, I'm just really disappointed by everything. And if I'm Coach Self, I'm really excited about what I've done with this team this year. The potential of this team going into the tournament. Thomas Robinson, ladies and gentlemen, is averaging 17 points per game and 12 rebounds per game. We're talking National of the Year numbers, National Player of the Year numbers. That is amazing from a guy who wasn't really a factor last year. Has also an amazing story. ESPN had a story about it earlier today on SportsCenter. And Kansas Jayhawks deserve a lot of credit.
Now, you're talking about Player of the Year, like numbers. Let's talk about Player of the Year. Let's talk about it right now. Who do you see as going to be named the number 1 dog, the number 1 enchilada, the cream of the crop? Who is that player for you at the end of this season for NCAA basketball after all is said and done?
Well, call me crazy, but I am going to have to go with Anthony Davis. Yes, his offensive numbers are not there. He's averaging 14 points a game, but he is averaging 10 rebounds a game. And the most impressive thing about him that people don't really notice it is his presence on the defensive end of the court is just absolutely amazing. He is averaging 4.8 blocks a game. That's like Manute Bol numbers right there. He has already passed Shaq's season record for SEC freshmen, and he's on pace to just demolish the record by any player in the SEC. So, yes, he's on a very talented team with Kentucky. He has Terrence Jones, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. He has a lot of great players. But when you put him on the court, when he is in the game, they're a completely different team. They're the number 1 team in the country. On the offensive part of the court, he is able to dominate. He is shooting a high percentage, 65% from the field. That's, I believe, the top 15 in the country, top 10 in the country. He is just amazing to watch. Every game he's on, that when he's on the court, this team is different when he's on the court. Kentucky has a chance to win. Now, he's played one bad game this year. What game was that? The game they lost against Indiana University at Indiana. Besides that, he's had a very, very, very great season. The other night against I don't really remember who it was the other night.
It was the other night.
It was the other night. He scored 16 points, had 6 rebounds. Sorry, my bad. I remember now. It was against Florida, which was a number 1 against number 7 matchup. A huge game. Again, on national TV, game to show I am the National Player of the Year. And, 16 points.
Game I'm sure Urban Meyer was not watching.
Right. Six rebounds and 4 blocks. You say, 4 blocks, that's not his average. And people were saying that's a bad game from. Whenever you say a player who had 4 blocks is having a bad game, you know that something
that he's really that good.
Amazing. I mean,
all right. So we're talking now. Of course, here on Louis Live, Yossi G and Rafi G both hosting tonight because Sweet Daddy Lou is out and about. He's actually calling a game up in Tel Aviv tonight between the Tel Aviv Pioneers and in Petach Tikva, it's between the Petach Tikva Troopers and the Jerusalem Kings. So he'll, of course, if you can't get enough of Sweet Daddy's voice, just stay tuned after the show. The game is going to be brought to you right here on IsraelSportsRadio.com and, of course, isn.co.il. But keeping to our show.
Back to our show.
And we're talking here about the number 1 players of the year, number 1 player of the year. How about, let's talk about who sucks. Who's your biggest disappointment? Or for that matter, who's your coach of the year? Who is the biggest unheralded player of the year?
Okay, I'll start off with the most disappointing team of the year. You have to think that it's Pittsburgh. They have a 7-8 game losing streak in the Big East, which is unheard of under a Jamie Dixon team. Very consistent winner. Has been to the NCAA tournament for the last 10 years.
It's good. I thought you were going to say the St. John Red Storm. Okay, so long as it's not St. John's.
Not St. John's. Okay. You got it. They only have freshmen this year. But I'm not going to go with Pittsburgh. I'm going to actually go with the reigning champions from last year, the UConn Huskies. Why am I going with the Huskies? Huskies this year, obviously last year they lost MVP of NCAA tournament. They lost Kemba Walker, the star of the heart, the soul of the team. And they lost the center, Charles, I can't pronounce it, Akawandu. That's what I think it is. And so they lost 2 key pieces from last year's team. And so you say, how could I put them as the most disappointing team? Well, I'll tell you. Lamb, who is their very big star, who was supposed to be the successor for Kemba, went this year to the summer, played for the U.S. junior national team, and when he came out of that, people were saying, wow, this kid is a very good player. He is going to have a great, great year. He's going to lead the team in scoring. He's going to lead them to triumph.
Except what they didn't realize was that all the other coaches were watching him and seeing how he plays, and therefore they were able to kind of, find his weaknesses.
Exactly. Then you add freshman Ryan Boatwright, and you add Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond is a beast in the post, and Boatwright is a pretty quick player and can get to the rim quickly. Those 2 guys are top recruits. You add that team, you add Lamb, you add Napier, you add there's everyone from the national championship team is there, and you add 2 amazing players, and what do you get? You get a 5-7 in the Big East. You get a team that is just not playing with any heart. They're getting blown out by Louisville by over 25 points. A team that is a reigning national championship of the year with almost the same exact team. I know, Kemba's gone, but still, talking about a Jim Calhoun coach team, this is unexcusable to be 5-7 and have such no effort, no heart, no nothing. Granted, Jim Calhoun is out for injury, and he will return. And like we said earlier in the show, they went 9-9 last year and won the national championship. But that's who I have to go with my most disappointing team. The coach of the year now could be given to a few coaches, but I am going to have to go with Tom Crean from Indiana. Tom Crean.
And the crowd loves that one.
Tom Crean, when you look at what Calvin Sampson left him with, Calvin Sampson completely destroyed the Indiana basketball program.
It was kind of like Samson from the Bible destroying all the people that was with him.
Even worse. But listen, Calvin Sampson was there for a couple of years, had great teams, but he did everything. He made illegal phone calls that caused a ton of problems. and he gets fired, leaves. Tom Crean comes in to save the day. The first year that Tom Crean is there, they go 1-17 in the Big Ten. Like, for an Indiana University team, 1-17. Then it gets a little better, they decide to go up to 4-14. Okay. Last year, a little bit better, not much better. Then finally this year, the breakout year, they have a huge game against Kentucky early in December. Indiana against the number 1 ranked team, Kentucky at the time. And Indiana wins at a crazy buzzer beater by Christian Watford at the last minute. Also, Indiana was able to beat the number 2 Ohio State team a few weeks later. So that's a team in the nation that has been the number 1 and number 2 teams within 3 weeks. That's just outstanding for a team that no one picked to do well this year, maybe 6th, 7th in the Big Ten. Yes, they're not having such a great season in Big Ten conference play. They're 6-6, but they have a couple good wins. As I mentioned, they beat Ohio State. They've beaten Michigan. They've played close to Michigan State. They kind of lost at the end, but
well, we know our listener, Pamela, out in Oregon, is definitely happy to recall that Michigan State whooped, because she's a big Michigan State fan, so kudos to you.
And, you got to also give him credit for believing. If you listen to a press conference by Kareem, you can see in his eyes, you can see that he believes in his program. He knows what he came to. He knows he has a huge job. And the development of some of his players this year are outstanding. Victor Oladipo last year was almost a non-factor. This year he's an explosive guard.
Can you spell that?
Oladipo, I can.
A-L-Dipo. Okay, fine. Very nice. Very nice.
He's having an explosive year. Will Sheehy is now being... Before his injury, people were saying he was the top 6 man of the year. And, of course, you can't forget Cody Zeller, the little brother of Tyler Zeller, who played last night for North Carolina. He's having an amazing year. Could be freshman of the year in the country besides Anthony Davis, of course. Zeller is leading the team, and listen to this: points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, and second in steals per game, and just having a dominating year. When the ball's in his hands, you know that the good things are going to happen. He's in the top 9 in shooting field goal percentage in the country as a freshman. So you really have to give credit to Crean. The Hoosiers will be back in the NCAA tournament this year after a long absence. And I know that as a Hoosier fan myself, that a lot of the Hoosier fans will be excited.
So now it comes out. Now we know the real reason why you picked Crean.
I knew that you would say that.
He is your boy.
Well, you got it. Number 1 and number 2 team in the country within. Okay.
Now everything has been answered. You and Josh Hastings can go run away with your Indiana people.
Okay.
Go have fun. Okay. Go have fun. But I got to ask you, is there any one player that you look at and say, why isn't he performing better? Why is he throwing up bricks, making Shaq at the free throw line look like God's gift to mankind?
There's a few players I can think of. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Perry Jones is not really, he was going to be not draft pick. He was going to be a top 5 pick last year. And decided to come back and, show, okay, I'm going to have a better year. I'm going to lead Baylor to the prominence as RG3 did earlier in the year with the football program. And he's just been blank. He just hasn't really, he's on and off. He's consistent. He's not going in big games. He shows up in games against crappy teams. He plays well. So, yeah, I'd have to go with Perry Jones III. Last night, 5 points in probably the game of the season for his, the Baylor Bears. And, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he maybe should have left last year, but I'd go with Perry Jones III.
All right, I hear that. And, when you look at some of those numbers that Perry has been putting up, they're nothing really that's too spectacular, nothing that really jumps out at you and says, wow, check it out. It's very, at best, pedestrian-type numbers, and we all know that he can play better than he's been performing this entire season. But, hey, you never know. There's still a couple of games left for the rest of the season. And then, of course, there's always March Madness. If he leads them to the promised land, this is all
we will not be talking about this.
Bye-bye.
Exactly.
Well, fair enough. Talking about going bye-bye. We're not done yet, but when we return after these quick commercial breaks, we'll change it up a little bit. Stay tuned to find out what exactly we have in store for you. You're listening to Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Body and Soul Gym in the heart of Talpiot. Great machines, excellent staff, and wonderful classes such as Pilates, yoga, and kickboxing. Give them a call at 02-678-8861. Once again, that's 02-678-8861. www.body-soul.co.il. Once again, that's www.body-soul.co.il. That's Body and Soul in the heart of Talpiot, which is great for your body and your soul.
You're already using a credit card every day. Why not feel good every time you make a purchase? When using the HAS Advantage Support Israel Visa card, a percentage of each purchase you make will be donated to your choice of 24 Israeli-based charities, while still earning a reward point for every dollar spent. But wait, these rewards are even better than the standard rewards you get, especially when using them towards Israel travel, with the best conversion rate on El Al's Matmeed Frequent Flyer program. Earn double points at some of your favorite supermarkets and restaurants in the U.S., as well as discounts all over Israel. If you love traveling and supporting Israel, HAS Advantage is the card for you. Just give us a call toll-free at 1-866-6-ISRAEL. Sign up right now with the code ISR10 to earn 2,500 bonus points. That's 1-866-647-7235. HAS Advantage. Earn rewards. Support Israel. Offer valid for U.S. citizens only. Terms and conditions do apply. When dialing from within Israel, please dial 1-800-200-818.
Israel Sports Dynamics specializes in football consulting, equipment, uniforms, and more. Great brands such as Nike, Russell Athletics, Shutt Sports Products, and many more. Just one call away. With over 30 years coaching experience with university and professional athletes, Terry Hill, owner of ISD, can advise you for all your sports needs. Call 054-581-3248. That's 054-581-3248, or visit our website at www.isdisrael.com. If that's not easy enough, click on the ISD banner on the Israel Sports Radio website and be part of the game.
Are you tired of paying for expensive gym memberships that you don't use? Are you frustrated by not seeing results? It's time for the X1. Israel Gym Systems is proud to launch the X1 suspension and bodyweight training system. Lose weight, build muscle, improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. With your purchase of the X1, you'll receive a free membership to IsraelGym.com and access to our archives of videos and exercise plans. Sign up today at www.israelgym.com and get ready for the new you. Israel Gym X1. Higia Hazman.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Toyota Care, the first maintenance plan offered by any
some
full-line
technical
automotive.
difficulties that we've been having here. Trying to get for the listeners everything that we want. We want to entertain you a little bit, not just us. We want to have real class acts beyond just us entertain you. So here we go. We're gonna start the show off this portion with Will Farrell introducing some NBA players between the New Orleans Hornets and the Chicago Bulls for their game, and you might actually learn some things about these players that you never knew before. Here we go. Take a listen.
Here this evening, and to introduce the starting lineups, Will Farrell.
For tonight's game between the visiting Chicago Bulls and your New Orleans Hornets. But first, the visiting Chicago Bulls. At forward, number 5, he still lives with his mother, Carlos Boozer. At forward, number 9, he collects rare birds and has a pet dolphin named Chachi, Luol Deng. At center, number 13, he's a Scorpio and a horrible dancer, Joakim Noah. At guard, number 11, he once ate 20 hot dogs in an hour, Ronnie Brewer. At guard, number 1, his favorite movie is The Notebook, Derek Rose.
Well, there, ladies and gentlemen, you have your Will Ferrell. He's definitely still one of the funnier kind of comedians out there. I had no idea that Derek Rose's favorite movie was The Notebook. I don't know. Did you know that?
No.
I don't know. I guess he loves, has a fondness for romantic dramas, but okay, fine. That works for me. And look, hey, if Lil Dane could have a pet dolphin, I want one too. I'm just saying that. But anyhow, talking about some real basketball now. Yes, not just the funny things that go along with it. What's been going on with the New York Knicks the entire season is something that is just short of a horror comedy, because you're not sure if you should laugh or if you should cry, because it's just been such an awful year. Now, I, for one, have been, from the beginning, even before Melo came over, I was against the trade. It seemed like the Knicks were bidding only against themselves when they upped the ante with Denver to get Carmelo from the Nuggets, and they basically traded away the rest of their roster to get one player who only plays offense. I was against it from the beginning. Now, to kind of correct that and to help their own cause, they went and got Tyson Chandler, a defensive stalwart, with the defending champions Dallas Mavericks. However, bear in mind one thing. This is a team that is coached by Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni likes run-and-gun type of offenses. He doesn't like set plays. He doesn't like half-court plays so much. So what the Knicks have on the court is very much different to what the coach's style, his philosophy, what he preaches is as. So what do? What does Coach D'Antoni do? He figures, hey, I've got nothing to lose. I've got this kid here named Jeremy Lin sitting on my bench. Let's give him a shot. And what has Lin done in the 2 games that he started? He's been averaging close to 15 points a game. Field goal percentage is absolutely crazy. He's been just lighting it up, loving it. And then we find out he has his own couch on the Lower East Side. You know what kind of real estate that is? That's like having a penthouse at Trump Towers in Miami Beach. I mean, this is prime real estate you're talking about, and he got this with an unguaranteed $800,000 contract, and it only became guaranteed this past Tuesday. What are you thinking about the Knicks? What do they look like now? They're not sure when Baron Davis is going to come back. How much longer will Lin play? Will he continue to play if he performs like this, even if, not necessarily when, but even if Baron Davis does return and play for the Knicks?
Well, this is one thing I can tell you. Jeremy Lin is giving the Knicks fans hope. And that's something that they've desperately not had all year. The fans have been seeking a point guard. And that's been the biggest problem on this team this year, is that the fans cannot, or the team cannot find a point guard who could guide the team down the floor, set plays up correctly, and do everything well. You know, you think Mike Bibby would be able to fill that role. Wrong. He's not had a good year. He's barely scoring the ball. He's averaging less than 4 points a game. The other guards are just not playing at a significant level.
Bibby was never really much of the create your. He was a create my own shot. He was never really a create your shot type of a passer, type of a player.
Well, right, and that's one of the main problems now with the Knicks is that, first of all, Amari Stoudemire is having a dismal year. His points are down almost 8 points per game. Same with Carmelo. He's having 22.3 points a game, which you just know when you hear that's not Carmelo. It's not superstar-like.
I mean, why don't people just listen to me? If they listen to me, they'd never be in this
Maybe
in
you
this
should
situation.
be the New York Knicks GM.
No, I'm not going to get myself involved with Ernie Grunfeld in his shoes. He's doing a great job. Maybe as an advisor, yeah, why not?
Well, if Isaiah worked there, then you can. Isaiah's not much of a coach, so
that's
or anything.
True. That's true. And I'm sorry. Yes, that was well-deserved, a well-deserved rim shot for you.
Carmelo is leading the team in assists, and when you hear that your superstar forward who shoots the ball all the time and has been known in Denver to be a ball hog is leading the team in assists, that's very problematic. And as you said earlier, Mike D'Antoni has a certain style of offense, and what the GM did this summer is go and build a team for him, but it wasn't actually for him. It wasn't a team that suits his style.
That's because the team can't play together, and they're also injured. It doesn't really help.
Tyson Chandler is averaging 10 points and 9 rebounds a game. That's not really great numbers for a 50-60 million contract. Now, back to Jeremy Lin. Last night he had 23 points, 10 assists. No New York Knicks player had had a double-digit assist this year in over 25 games. That is absurd.
Well, I think that all has to do because Jeremy Lin comes from Harvard. He's a smart boy.
He's a
smarty pants.
He's a smarty pants. He comes up with the physics on how to cut in the lanes, and maybe that's what he's doing. But whatever he's doing is succeeding. And Knicks fans are happy. And when he's been in the lineup, they've been 3-0. That's a pretty impressive win streak for this team.
I definitely, I would keep him there because, hey, you know,
nothing to lose.
If good things are happening, why change something if it ain't broke, right? Why fix something if it ain't broke? And talking about teams that look like they're broke, how about those Lakers? And they just look so bad. I mean, you got Kobe Bryant putting up Kobe Bryant numbers, but that, of course, takes away from everybody else's numbers. I mean, of course, if you shoot the ball, 20 times, it's bound to go in a couple times. So if you keep doing that, you prevent your teammates from being better, and thus it creates more problems, more pressure on you. You're playing with a bad wrist as is, and your team is not doing so well. You've got a new kids on the block, so to speak, with the Los Angeles Clippers down the same hallway in your own building. What's going on with them?
So this is what's going on with the Lakers. Kobe is back to his season a few years ago when he just said, I'm going to take over this team and I'm going to shoot the ball whenever I want. And what's happening are the Lakers are simply sitting and watching. And you can just look at the stats. Ron Artest, or Meta World Peace as he goes by now, is averaging 4.9 points per game.
Oh, he's definitely fan watching. He's watching. Look, here's the difference. See, fans go to the game. They pay to go to the game. Ron Artest gets paid to go to the game and watch Kobe Bryant play.
Drinking during halftime. Let's not forget that.
Oh, yes, definitely. And it's something that they're going to have to correct between him and Pau Gasol. They're going to have to figure out how to get him the ball more and get him open. And also, of course, with Andrew Bynum. Is he going to be traded? Is he not going to be traded? Who knows?
We'll find out.
And just what the team is like. It's old.
Very old.
It's injured, and they have a very big challenge known as the Los Angeles Clippers. They're talking about challenges, and we're going to change this up right here for the last little bit of the program. Talk a little bit about challenges that the NHL, the National Hockey League, has had over the past few years, and they've overcome them. However, there's this one big challenge that they face, and that is concussions. But more so than concussions, because we know it as concussions, but it seems as concussions is just a byproduct of the bigger issue. What's this issue? Simply, the game is too fast. When you have players who are, yes, you look at the size of the rink, it's the same size as it was in the 40s and 50s, but the players these days are not the same size as those in the 40s and 50s. When you had a game that was played, that now is played rather by people, by athletes who are on average 6'2", 6'3", 220, 230 pound behemoths skating at speeds north of 30 miles an hour with wearing bodysuits of armor, for Pete's sake. Of course you're going to get hit and it's going to hurt and you're probably going to get concussed and injured. What the first thing that the NHL has to do is slow the game down. This is not only for the players' sake, it's also because if they slow the game down, they can make more money. It's not like soccer, which has that ability to play a quick game. It's only a 2-hour length in real time. It's 90 minutes, an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes of real time, and then you have about 20-minute break for halftime. But the reason why they're able to do it is because unlike hockey, which is a very expensive sport to play, to grow up playing, to keep on playing, soccer, all you need is a ball. That's all you need. So and that's why it's known as the world game, the world sport, that being soccer. And what the NHL has to do is somehow figure out how to slow the game down. One of those ways is bringing back the two-line pass that was taken out during the lockout, so as to speed up the game, to make it faster, more exciting, more goals scored, and also to make the touch icing, just get rid of that rule. That when you have two players racing down the ice to touch the first one who touches their stick to the puck will determine if the play stops or play does not stop. That usually causes for injuries as well because players slide, hit the wall, hit each other. Things are bound not to be that good 9 times out of 10, I guess, and that's a really high ratio, but it usually does not end up being so good. Somebody gets hurt at some point, gets banged, gets dinged, something like that, and then you end up with an injury. And that's really it. I mean, besides for that, you could argue that the NHL is better than the NFL because the Vince Lombardi presentation does not hold the same weight as a Stanley Cup presentation does. Quite simply, players do not touch the Stanley Cup, do not go near the Stanley Cup until they actually win it. Hurt hockey players are more likely to giddy up and come through in the clutch. There's no bye weeks. There's no win it and done. If a team, let's say for example, if there was a 7-game series in the NFL, and the Patriots, of course, now lose to the Giants. Now the fans aren't going to say, "Oh crap, what happened? It's awful, it's bad." They can go look back and say, "Hey, it was a great, that other series that we had in round 2, that was awesome. 7 games against, let's say the Jets were in the playoffs, 7 games against the Jets, and we beat them. Oh, it was great. It was fantastic." And of course, with that being said, usually you don't hear from NHL wags, wives or girlfriends, sounding off about losses,
Such as
You
Giselle.
definitely don't hear them talking bad about their husband's teammates, that's for sure. And of course, you won't have the best player in the game's younger brother having more championships than the best player in the game.
Yes, sir.
But hey,
2-1.
That's just me. That's just what's been happening. And quite frankly, it seems that what the NHL has been doing overall has been really good. But there are a few things, small things that they need to do, that they need to fix, tweak, not necessarily fix, but tweak, that will make for the game to be that much better. And quite simply, that's what I have to say for tonight. Even so, that's all for tonight. God bless and good night.